the sent count apparently was 73. Out of that, 42 people opened it and 6 people responded. Alright guys, so today I'm going to show you how we landed our very first client through cold emailing. I'm going to show you the thinking and the thought process behind our strategy so you really understand why and what we're doing and how we're doing it. And then I'm going to show you the actual stats because guess what? It isn't that much. We're not spamming people here. We landed our first client with 147 emails. We sent 147 emails and landed our first client. That is plus follow-ups. So 147 businesses with 3 or 4, I think it's 4 follow-ups for each business. So let me go through it all. Number one is our thought process. Okay, so before I show you the stats, I know you want to hear them, but let me explain who exactly we're emailing and the approach we're taking with this. Okay, because most people see my video lead magnet technique or fake video audit technique, and they're like, all right, so I got it. So here's what I do: I email 5,000 businesses and say to them, hey, I made you a video, respond if you want it. And that's basically what you do. They basically spam it out there, thousands of businesses, and they're like, yeah, well, I got a client, but it took me 500 emails. It took me 1,000 emails. Why? And it's like, because you're spamming. You're not really adding value. They're like, well, the video's value. It's like, yeah, but you're not sending the video until after they respond. You're just spamming them initially, okay? So I don't want to do that, and I don't condone that. I don't teach that. That's not what I recommend doing, all right? If you want to do that, fine, but it's not the best approach, right? The best approach is to send personalized emails. Now, sending 100 or sending 50 personalized emails a day, when we're talking every single one unique, well, that is a very, very difficult thing to do. There are ways to kind of speed that up. I'm going to show you guys kind of how you can do that later. But for now, that approach is a little bit difficult. So how can we take the best of both worlds? How can we email 50, 100 businesses a day and do that in 10 minutes of work a day at most? Well, you do that by combining basically the approach of mass mailing and automation, stuff like that, with segmentation. So here's what we're doing, okay? Number one is we're targeting e-commerce brands, okay? Now, we're starting in the UK. We're going to expand everywhere else because it doesn't matter, but I'm from the UK, so it's easier to start in the UK, okay? So we're starting in the UK. We're targeting e-commerce brands, and we have a prospector, obviously, that goes out there and collects us, owners' information if they can find it, and if they can't find it, then they find a generic info at, hello at, whatever email address for the company. They do this with, I don't know how many they find a day, 30, 50, 100, whatever, it doesn't matter. They can do quite a lot every single day. So there's a spreadsheet, and they're going out there and finding this information for us constantly. But that's not all, okay, because everyone does that, okay? You can just go scrape, okay, top 100 results for dentists in London, and then you have a list of all the dentists in London, and then you can go email them, right? Well, we take it a little bit further than that, okay? So how can we then refine that data? Meaning, we don't want to email every single one of those people the exact same message. We don't want to email 500 people the exact same message. We want to segment that and create smaller segments of people you can email. So here's what we do. We plug that data into whatever tool we want to use. So for example, we're predominantly using Ahrefs, and we can pull up information, right? We can see how much traffic the site's getting and tons of different things like that. That is really interesting to us. And then we can plug and play that into our templates, but not just mail merging this shit, okay? So mail merging obviously works, and we do mail merge it, but we do it in a way where we create specific segments based on that information. So we can target them based on that data. Now, you can use various different data sources. It doesn't matter. You can also do a little bit more manual research in your prospecting, and maybe you want to email businesses that are, say, multi-location businesses, and you have a specific template set up for multi-location businesses, right? But doing things like that where you're creating segments within your audience, so then you can target better and send more personalized messaging, okay? That's number one, okay? So make sure that you're segmenting this. So again, I said we sent 147 emails. That was roughly, not exactly, but roughly divided equally into 2 separate campaigns. And even this is separate, okay? So we email one campaign for where we have the owner's email, and then we set up another campaign where we don't have the owner's email. Now, in this case, it's virtually the same. We're testing now slightly different approaches for subject line for that when we know the owner versus when we don't know the owner. But what this allows us to do is look at the data afterwards. We want to analyze this data and decide what to do next, right? So if you can see that, hey, our generic campaign is performing significantly better which would be weird, then we can look into that. But in most cases, you're going to see the owner's name performing way better when you have the owner's name and email. But if we're seeing that so much better, maybe we can kind of tweak what we're doing now. We can tweak the generic campaign a little bit and improve it, okay? But to sum that up really quickly, just an update on the old strategy that I've taught a bazillion times before now for years at this point, is we're sending the same email. We're emailing them saying, hey, do you want to see a video showing how you can improve your rankings, improve your traffic, or anything like that, right? Opportunities for your business online with search, okay? I think you guys got that down, right? We're doing that, but we're not spamming the same message to 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 people. Everyone thinks they need to scale. I don't care about scale, because if I get 1 or 2 clients a month, I'm happy with that. Right, especially when you charge a decent amount of money, 1 or 2 clients a month is plenty. So you don't need scale. You don't need 100,000 businesses to contact. Again, we got our first client from 147 emails. All right, 147 businesses contacted. So that is basically what we're doing. We have this list. We use data to filter this and segment this list. And then we send personalized messages to the segments. So not every business is receiving the same email. It may be almost the same. In fact, in our case, almost everyone receives a very, very similar email, but we just tweak a little bit so it's focused on that segment, okay? So that's how we're approaching this. It's not spam. It's focused based on segments within our audience, which is e-commerce brands in the UK, okay? So that is the kind of thinking and the backstory behind it. Let me go onto my laptop. I got it over here, and we shall run through all this data, and I'll show you guys exactly how we are doing it. All right, so you guys should be able to see my screen right now, and let me show you the stats, okay? It's very simple. It's 2 campaigns, as mentioned before. Number 1 is the personal campaign, as you can see by the 60% open rate, and number 2 is the generic campaign, which you can see again by the lower 43.3% open rate. Now we can look at the stats here. It's really freaking simple. Okay, number 1 is we had 74 prospects in the owner's campaign, the personal campaign, where you have the owner's name and email address. All right, and you can see here 1 of them was invalid and 3 of them bounced. Okay, so the sent count apparently was 73. Out of that, 42 people opened it and 6 people responded. Now, how does that translate? Well, not everyone that responded, obviously, was interested in buying from us, okay? So I think there were 3 video audits. I don't know exactly how many from this campaign versus the generic one, but there's 3 video audits, and out of those video audits, absolutely nothing happened, and we'll just continue to follow up with them over email. You can call, which is better, but we don't have time to do it. We're working on a lot and we're scaling a lot in terms of doing new outreach. But there's 3 video audits. None of the video audits actually converted. Instead, someone emailed us back from this initial email, and they said, hey, can we jump on a call basically and talk about this, how you can help us? So we get on a call, and then we talk a little bit, and obviously push them for a proposal call, which is our next step in our sales process. We go through a proposal. About 4 or 5 days later, they're interested, and about an hour after the proposal, they send over a confirmation saying they want to sign up. We send a payment link, and it's done. Okay, so actually, we didn't have to send a video audit for that client, and sometimes it's going to happen. You don't have to be strict in your ways. If someone responds saying, hey, let's get on the phone, the goal of the video audit anyway is to get on the phone just with a little pre-qualification in mind. But skip that step and just get on the phone if you want to. That works great also. But anyway, that's the personal campaign. That's where we have the owner's email. You can see 70 of these emails were delivered. Out of them, 42 were opened at a 60% open rate, and 6 of them responded at an 8.6% response rate, okay? So that's how that works. If you go into the generic campaign, it's a little bit different. There's 73 prospects. 2 of them were invalid. They were incorrect email addresses or whatever else. 71 obviously were sent. 4 of them bounced, so the email address was incorrect or something was wrong with that. 67 of them were apparently delivered. Out of that, 29 opened, which is a 43.3% open rate, and 5 of them responded, which is a 7.5% response rate. And again, some of these responses, in fact, I think most of them, were not positive responses. They weren't actually that negative in this case, which is good. Sometimes people are pretty toxic. It's understandable. You're wasting the time. But in this case, I think most of these generic responses were people actually just saying, hey, please stop emailing us. Please unsubscribe us. Especially Because see, we're looking at the high level here, which is 43.3% response rate, but we're looking at that from the overall campaign, not just the first email. So of course that drops off on further follow-up emails. So we scroll down a little bit, you can see step number 1, so this is the first email, had a 52.9% open rate and a 2.9%, but obviously very low stats here, 2 responses. If we go into path no, we can see kind of the next steps, which is it kind of drops off. So as you're following up more, we have 3 follow-ups. We space them 1 week apart. So our thinking is we email them every week for a month, basically. So 52.9%, that drops down to 40.3% on the second email, which is the follow-up email. That drops down to 26.2% on the next one and 23.1% on the next one. Interestingly, the response rate on this one's weak. The response rate on this one is higher, which is 2, which is 3.1%. Now, does that mean anything? No, because the data is so weak. It doesn't. It's such a small amount of data. It doesn't really mean anything. It's not statistically relevant. It's a difficult word to pronounce. But it may be something to look into. In fact, I actually believe that the reason we have more responses at the end is because by the time they get the full follow-up, if they're not interested, they're a little bit more inclined to email us and say, get lost, right? Same with the generic campaign. Scroll down here. Okay, so see the difference here. 36.8% on the first email, and this one's 52.9%. So we're seeing a massive difference when we have that owner's name and email address. Obviously, but we're still going to send them anyway. Some people ask me, well, I don't have the owner's name. Should I just skip it? Should I not email them because I don't have the owner's email? Like, no, just send it anyway. You don't know what's going to happen with it, so just try it out. All right, so as you can see here, 36.8 on the first one, 12.3, 12.7, and 15.9. So it drops significantly as we get further down this list. So that is our stats. Now, the tool we're using for this is Woodpecker, and the reason I like Woodpecker, even though they're all pretty much the same thing, is because Woodpecker has basically a CSV import option. And what that means is you create your campaign, you import your CSV, and you say, okay, I want to send 10 emails a day, or whatever it is. So we imported 70 into one campaign, and 70-ish, again, 70-ish on both of them, into both campaigns, and we said, okay, email, I can't remember, we said 15 people a day. And it emails 15, it sends 15 emails a day, should I say. Some of them are going to be follow-ups and whatever else as well. But basically, it allows us to upload a big list and then automate the emailing. So you have to log in every single day, okay, schedule the next 10, schedule the next 10, schedule the next 10. We just create a list, import it, and it's done. You can also do it off of Google Drive. But realistically, it does not matter whatsoever. These tools are just tools, and they're all pretty much the same sort of idea anyway. But that is our initial email campaign. It is nothing complicated. We're doing the same stuff that all you guys know how to do. We're emailing businesses, asking them if they want to see a video showing how they can improve their rankings and traffic from search. And then when they respond, then we're actually recording a video and then sending it over to them in a separate video. Now, I will upload for you guys soon, or maybe a live stream or something. I'll just show you guys how to do the video audits. It's super simple. You can record, like, especially if you have some help with a VA doing it for you, you can record like 10, 15 of these a day easily and just churn these out. And I'll show you guys how to do it. It's really, really simple. But that's basically it. What we do with the video audit now is we actually put in some effort. I mean, who knew? We actually put in some effort to add some value and help them out. So I'll show you guys that process very, very soon. The average video I'm doing right now is about 15 to 20 minutes because we're focused on e-commerce and we want to really add some value and dive a little bit deeper into technical stuff because they understand it a little bit more so, not too technical, but a little bit more so than a local business. They're a little bit more invested in online because their business is online. All right, so that's pretty much all I have to share with you guys today. If you have any questions, if I missed anything else out, then let me know and I can upload another video and expand. But that is our strategy right now. Our strategy is really simple. Identify e-commerce businesses, sort and segment them and filter them based on different data that we look at from Ahrefs and other tools, and just decide who are the best people to email and what is the approach we want to email this brand versus another brand based on that data. And then we have a prospector that goes out every day and collects email addresses and information to contact them. And then we just straight up cold email them inside of Woodpecker. And that's our response rates. You can see them exactly there. Are they good? Are they bad? They're okay. The personal one is pretty decent. The generic one is not so good, but it's generic as well. So that is how we're doing it. If you guys want to do the same thing, then do the same thing. It's not, honestly, not complicated whatsoever. You can hire someone from wherever. We have a guy in the Philippines doing all our prospecting for us. We pay him, I don't know, $5 an hour, give or take, and he does all this for us. You can hire someone on Upwork or whatever. It's really, really simple. Even if you like have a job right now, don't have a ton of cash, go pay someone on Upwork to do all this prospecting for you. Do not even think about doing it yourself. It's a massive waste of time. And then start sending emails. You can easily send at least 10, actually, if you send a video audit straight up, you can do 10 a day. If you send emails like this, you should be able to send at least 30 a day, ideally 50 or more. And again, you're doing it in a non-spammy way, but aim for about 20, 25, 30 emails a day. You're good. You're going to get good responses. Again, this campaign was 150 or 147 businesses. Obviously, out of that, about 7 of them bounced anyway, so it's about 140, and we landed a client out of it. It was a little bit lucky, sure. It was lucky because the client was basically seeking a new agency at a time. They worked with an SEO agency in the past, they stopped it over COVID, and they were looking to start up again now. So sure, it was lucky, it was good timing, but that's the point. It's a numbers game, and you play to numbers. You play to the numbers, meaning you send enough emails and eventually you're gonna get lucky, right? It is lucky, but you're playing to that game by sending enough emails, but doing it in a non-spammy way where you're actually adding value by segmenting and sending specific emails to that segment. So that is all I have for you guys today. That is what I wanted to share, how exactly we landed at first client. I won't talk about how much they're paying us, but it's not so bad, just because it doesn't matter, right? You're targeting different people. I'm working with e-commerce brands. You're working with, most people are working with small local, but obviously you can do the same thing as me if you have the expertise to pull it off and get good results for those e-com brands. So that is it for this video. If you like this and you want to see the journey of how we get more clients and you want to see me upload videos doing video audits, anything like that, subscribe, leave a comment, and that's it. I just want to make sure you guys are enjoying this and you want me to create more content like this. So that's all for this video, and I shall see you in the next one.